Welcome to the Act Out Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Tomlin. Today's guest is Kate Powell. Wait, she was last week. Well, she's this week too. That's right. Her episode was so good, we had to break it up into 2 parts. Anyway, let's roll the tape. Of course, I'm like pro-diversity. I like winning.
Right, yeah.
So I guess all that to say, I hate the patriarchy.
Right. Yeah, well, because it does turn it all into a limited pie, right? Everyone only gets a small section of it, and you have to beat everyone else up to get more of it if you want more of it. There isn't, rather than, like you said, if it's non-zero sum, if it's simply there's infinite creativity, there's infinite possibility.
Abundant.
Right, yeah, abundance. Jesus. By the way, I despise abundance.
I saw that post.
A lot. But I digress. But if we believe that there is abundance and that we can all succeed with others succeeding, as opposed to your success is my failure and vice versa, we're just a much happier set of beings. And I think when it comes to my politics, that's definitely politics, spirituality, whatever. That has always been sort of my
You're
assumption.
Like a freaking mind reader. I was about to get segue into politics. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but that's been my assumption is that the conservative view, whether you're talking about conservatively religious or conservatively political, is that there's scarcity and we must fight to the death for it. And the more, whatever you want to call it, liberal, leftist, whatever views are, there is plenty, not infinite in the case of some reason. What's interesting about the conservative view is that there's also like infinite resources. You should just drill, baby, drill. Who cares?
Yes.
Whatever.
It goes back to that, like, this life being dirty rags.
Right. Yes. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Like, just use the earth for whatever it is and peace out when we're dead. And but yeah, no, I mean, like, when you, again, thinking back to like my earliest conceptions of like what a good spiritual practice is, it lines up very well with the liberal mindset, because the liberal mindset is like, yeah, there are limits. There are some limits as far as like the amount of oxygen in the air and like stuff like that. But there is no limit to creativity. There is no limit to thoughts and ideas. We can just, embrace those and continue to pursue ever more of that. There's literally no reason why we should sit here and think that because a woman, has a podcast or has a platform or whatever, that somehow demeans the men around her. It's weird.
That just sounds like a bunch of insecure dudes.
Yes, yeah, that's definitely a thing. But when we're talking about religion, that's there's a lot of that, unfortunately. Yeah.
Definitely not in podcasting, though. So
no, yeah, there's no insecure people, no insecure men in podcasting at all. Wouldn't know anything about that.
Did you know that God was a Republican?
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, like, I think everyone's pretty clear that God was a Republican.
Straight up, though, like, I'm not, like, growing up, unironically,
right,
I felt like God was definitely a Republican. And that was, like, there was no distinction between religion and politics for me growing up. Like, I thought that, like, God's law should be, be America's law.
Right.
Did you, like, you kind of were you kind of on the outskirts of Christian nationalism?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I was in Christian nationalism.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm listening to stories from like Monty Mater or April LaJoy or whatnot,
God, I love them.
I love them too a lot.
Eve Was Framed is really good too.
Yeah. And I love you both. I hope one day we can be friends. But they what they describe was not my experience, but definitely adjacent to, like, a gateway drug to.
Yeah.
Could have easily gone that way, so very grateful to not have gone that way.
What do you think stopped it? I have a theory.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think part of, with me personally, okay, I think part of it is personality. I have always been hyper independent with like a healthy dose of skepticism and kind of a very like, that's wrong. Yeah, wrong as in like, if you're gonna like murder a puppy in front of me, I didn't need to know that that was wrong. I would like beat you up. And I was like that, without getting into all my childhood traumas. I was like that from like birth.
Who beat up a puppy in front of you?
Nobody beat up a puppy in front of me. Someone did. Yeah, I did, though, like at like a very young age, experience some domestic violence and whatnot, and I responded with like defending the person as like a 2-year-old.
Oh wow!
So like, I think there's just I think for me specifically, there's just a personality issue of like, you can sit there and tell me that all the day long, but there's like this thing right here that's going to make me go like, no. I was definitely, again, a conservative leaning independent, in a Republican household.
So your family was Republican as well. Okay.
And yeah, definitely conservative leaning. But
was Illinois, like the area of Illinois you were in, was it conservative leaning?
Oh, the central part, yeah.
Yeah, okay, central part, yes, okay.
And then Chicago, not at all. But yeah, in central Illinois, Arkansas, and then even like, here in Hampton Roads, we've got a real split here. So you can find your people on either side of the political spectrum.
That was really surprising to me. So whenever we were doing research, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent.
No,
but when we were doing like research of where to move, I was looking for a progressive area further north. It couldn't be so far up north to where my accent stuck out too much. So Norfolk is like right there on the line,
Perfect sweet spot. Truly.
And it was like, for like Norfolk, I look at the presidential election stuff. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can definitely live there.
We're very proud of our voting margins here in Norfolk. They're real good.
Yeah. You and I think I actually had a thing on Threads like, well, my precinct went like 76%. The most like nerdy flex of all time.
Yeah.
But, like,
meanwhile, the mayor from a different precinct was like, "Shut up, Kate." It was very funny.
Yeah, I didn't have that part. I'm not important enough to get that up yet. But yeah, so like I was so excited, and then there was like, like went to Pungo for the first time, and like a lot of like Chesapeake and Virginia Beach. Like, oh, never mind. Okay, I am right back at home. It's so surprising. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, not at all. But yeah, no, it's I don't even know where.
We were talking about like growing up like in the conservative environment, and so you were like Republican family. Do you remember like the first political thing that you were involved in?
Yeah, so as like a kid, I wasn't really involved in politics at all. Oh, like we weren't a political family.
Oh, okay.
My parents voted Republican. That was like the extent, and we were in a conservative Christian household. So like, there we go. The whole like getting involved politically, I again was fairly open-minded. I was skeptical of Obama because my parents were skeptical of Obama. Yeah. But I went to James Madison, and he actually did a rally there in 2008 in his first presidential campaign, and I made sure to go, even though I was skeptical of him, because I was like, it's a presidential candidate coming to my campus. I should go no matter how I feel about his politics. And I also, again, because I wasn't that political, was like, I don't really know what I'm doing, like what I'm talking about anyway. I did vote for Mitt Romney. I'm sorry. I know that
I voted for McCain.
He was my yeah. So like, I definitely, voted against Obama both times. Though I will say that I think that there's a huge difference between John McCain and Mitt Romney and what we're dealing with now. Right. But that's just where I was. And, I was very skeptical of the hope and change thing. Interestingly, again, I think this is a personality thing, just being like super hyper independent and being like, that sounds like crap. And so kind of being like, feeling there wasn't a lot of substance there.
And like a bandwagon effect too. I'm sure that the more people that came on.
Right. The more I was like, I don't know, guys, it seems really culty to me. And then, so there was some of that. And then, but then there was also like when the ACA passed, and my personal experience with it was my health insurance skyrocketing.
Oh, okay.
skyrocketing, losing all, like, because I was in that, like, you know, I wasn't, my husband and I are very much middle class people, but we had health insurance, like job with group health plan.
You
everything.
came here in a Lamborghini, Kate. Don't try that.
That's it. My Maserati's parked outside. You know, I remember I had my first big girl health insurance plan the year before the ACA went into effect. So I had no previous health condition, you know, so I was like normal, right? I was in that normie thing. And I had a really easy premium. I had really great coverage, yada, yada. The minute that law went into effect, if you were in that bucket of people, premiums skyrocketed. Yes, more people got insured, but that's when the health insurance companies were like, well, if we have to cover all this, we gouge, because there were no price controls and there was no public option. Skyrocketing things. So I saw the night and day difference, and I held a grudge against that man forever about that until recently. I'm over it now, but like I truly was like, I can't believe you did this to me. It was a very personal, very visceral reaction. It was not data driven, and so I have a strange empathy for people in the last election, the 2024 presidential election. I have a very strange empathy for people who were so desperate to get out from under inflation and everything else that they saw as Biden's fault, though it wasn't really Biden's fault. And I understand the reaction to it. I don't understand the reaction towards a known quantity like Trump, right? There's a difference between reacting with someone who has never been president before and we haven't seen how awful and terrible and cruel he was before, versus having a reaction towards a very known, like, dangerous person. That's the part that I really, like, I kind of draw the line of, like, sensibleness. Most people are not politically engaged to the point where they really understand that.
That's hard for me to conceptualize.
It is hard. It's hard to be like, how do you not see it? But think about it. If you're working 2 jobs to make ends meet, inflation's killing you, yada, yada, when do you have time to do that? Like, me being able to speak to the level that I do in my content about political matters or whatever is like a second full-time job. And I have a different full-time job, by the way. That's not my, like, this whole thing that I do is for fun. It doesn't pay anything, really. Like, yes, I have some monetization on TikTok, but, like, you know, it's really, and every once in a while I do a partnership or something, but it's just not, it's not a...
Speaking of, if you need any kind of news service, please go to Ground News and use the code Kate. Is that it?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's still going on, but
if it is.
Yeah, if it is, you can go to groundnews.com/Kate. I don't know if that's still open or not. But yeah, thanks. I'm constantly having to remind myself that like, first of all, I remember being that person who didn't know anything other than what I was experiencing from the political decisions that were being made. And really, looking back, most political experts will tell you that the ACA's lack of a public option, the lack of price controls on health insurance companies was a mistake.
Oh, yeah.
Because it did lead to this backlash that led to Trump 2016. I did not vote for Trump in 2016, to be clear. Yeah. But, like...
It was a mistake that, like, had to happen, though. Like, I don't think the ACA could have passed without...
Oh, no, it wasn't going to pass otherwise. Yeah. Like, I mean, again, when I was able to come out of, like, what my personal experience was and see the bigger picture and, like, you know, Christian cinema, like, you know, like, the things that were in play at that time, it's like, well, it was the best we could do.
Mm-hmm. And even that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just remembered this. Like, even with that, like, watered down ACA that she's talking about, freaking Massachusetts elected Scott Brown specifically because of this. Right. So, like, this, like, the political reality there was such where Obama was obsessed with bipartisanship. Oh, God, man, bless his heart. Like, I remember whenever he was inaugurated, Johnny Reb messed up the oath of office, and Obama had to do it again. I call him Johnny Reb and the Funky Bunch.
That's really funny. Yeah,
but you know, like they did it again in private, and Robert Gates came out. Was it Robert Gates? Whoever his first press secretary was. I may be mistaking his name now. Oh, Sean. No, he was on Dancing with the Stars at one point too, I think. I may be mixing up Trump's. But he was like, Obama did this in a very bipartisan way. And I'm like, dude, he did the oath of office, man. It's not bipartisan. Like, you could just tell that was what he was hammering. Mm-hmm. So I think, like, Obama's mindset of, like, we got to get a couple of Republicans really, like, screwed up.
And also he, in the Senate at the time, like, again, when you look at the electoral reality, he just didn't have the votes to get through, like, universal health care or a public option or whatever.
That's still a big fucking deal when it passed.
Yeah, but here's what I will say, though. I think that there was, as far as like to the normal average everyday American, there was simply not the communication post ACA. Mm-hmm. Because it was very much like, this is the greatest thing we've ever done. They just doubled down on how great it was. There was zero acknowledgement of the collateral damage that I just described.
Yep.
My story is not unique. It happened to millions of people. Again, the reaction to it was felt politically, like you said, the local, state level first, and then, you know, Obama did win re-election, not by the same margins that he won. I was about to say by a
lower margin, one of the first times in
history. We had already shifted right, and then of course we ended up with Trump right after him, because again, the refusal to acknowledge what was challenging about those policies, about the ACA, about Obama's immigration policy, which, by the way, there's a lot more similarity between Obama and Trump's immigration policy than there is between Biden and Trump's.
Yep.
So let's just be clear. Like, he is not like the great patron saint of humanity or something like that. He had some problems. And so he was pissing off people on both sides. Mm-hmm. You know, the ACA pissed off the right. His immigration policy pissed off the left. Trump 2016. It really, I mean, it's really not like, as far as like speaking to the normal voter, and that kind of the Democratic Party's lack of ability to just admit, hey, we got some things wrong here, and here's what we want to do differently if you give us power to do X, Y, Z. It's really frustrating when it's like they refuse to court power and instead are just like, well, you don't want Trump, right? You don't want the crazy guy. It's like, no, I don't, which is why I didn't vote for him. Right. But I also would like a solution to the mess you made, right? Like you made this mess of health insurance. What the heck are you going to do to fix it? You know, and I know Hillary gets a lot of crap, and I'm not really here to, you know, give her a hard time.
She would have been so much better.
Yeah, she would have been so much better. But also, like, where did she campaign? And what did her people tell her to say? You know, like, it's really frustrating sometimes. I just want to shake the big D Democrats, because I'm just like, if you don't say it with your mouth, hey, the ACA did this, and it also did this, and we would like to fix that with X, Y, and the other, it would require you to do it in the teeth of the health insurance lobby.
Yeah.
Because that's really what the problem is. We all know it. Yep. Like, it's not a mystery why we don't have a public option. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, I know, like, again, I know the Senate realities when we passed the ACA initially, but as far as, like, why we haven't moved forward at all since then, that would be part of it. Biden's expansion of it was great and stuff, but, like, anyway, sorry. I'm, like, on a tear. Anyway, we were talking about where, like,
we were talking about, like, your political beliefs, and so it was the ACA and how you felt that on a very visceral level.
Right.
The ADHD actually helped me out, and I could remember this time.
Right. But, like, what eventually happened was, obviously Trump won. I was like, well, no.
Yeah.
If being conservative means this, we're done. We're breaking up forever, never ever getting back together. And then,
like, ever?
And not ever. So I, like, voted for Biden, was like, let's go. And I was very frustrated with, like, not getting student loan forgiveness. Of course, that was the Supreme Court.
Johnny.
Though I know, seriously. John Roberts.
If your ideological soulmate is Roger Taney, we got a problem.
He's got a lot. There's a lot of problems with that court. Don't get me started about the Supreme Court. But I also am like, Biden, you should have just done the Jackson, like, let him enforce it.
Yeah.
As I go do exactly what I said I was going to do, and the people elected me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but the re-election of Trump is what really pushed me into like, I gotta be full-throated, liberal left, whatever now, because we have gone so far that way. I like, this is, and it's also just like, it just, the more I actually studied it, looked at the data and the economics of it and whatever, I was like, this is the way. The evidence is that way. The same way that I had to, we didn't really talk about how I deconstructed from Christianity and whatnot, but like the same way I just deconstructed from Christianity is how I deconstructed from really any hint of conservatism.
Yeah.
It's just like that. It just doesn't make sense anymore. It's leading to this cruel policies all around. It is not what I believe as far as like the spiritual aspects. And also it actually just dollars and cents wise makes zero sense.
Did these happen at a similar time? Your religious kind of deconstruction, political?
They were dovetailed. They were dovetailed. Sorry, the word I almost said tail feathered, and I was like, that is not the word. No, they definitely dovetailed. So the Christianity went first.
Yeah.
The spirituality went first.
Same. Okay.
Yeah.
And
then the political beliefs followed behind. For the spiritual deconstruction? Oh boy. So save the juicy stuff for the end. If you've got this far, you've gotten to the nuggets.
This is what we're going to put at the very beginning.
Oh, okay. We're gonna
like hook them
a little teaser. So I mentioned that I was a youth director, youth ministry director, youth pastor, whatever you want to call it. And I was under the leadership of a senior pastor who I had known since high school. So it was a church here in Virginia, and I had gone to this church in high school. I went to college, moved to Nova, was gone for several years, and then came back as an adult. And the whole time, same senior pastor who had founded the church too. And I, when I got back, I was kind of on a, we would call it a revival in the church terms, but I was very much like I'm like renewed, refreshed. I really want to get back into like service.
The Spirit of the Lord was burning bright in you.
Right. It really was. I had a fire that I could not contain type thing. At the same time, there was like a schism going on in this church between my old youth pastor and the senior pastor. It's like very messy and everything. And my old youth pastor left, and there was a void in that ministry. And I told the senior pastor, like, I will step into that void because this means a lot to me. I was in this youth ministry. I believe in it. I was a youth leader in that ministry. Like I want to ensure that there's a safe, edifying place for the students. So I did. And there were, speaking of patriarchy, speaking of difficulties with that, it was like a couple years of me doing the job, but not having a title. I didn't get paid, which people will tell you I'm really bad at charging for like literally anything that I do.
Well, then why did you charge for this appearance?
Exactly. I'm really bad at it. He's joking.
Yeah. Sorry.
I literally almost charge for nothing ever. And so anyway, I'm doing this job. As I said, moonlighting because I worked a full-time day job. And this is going to sound like the story that's the tale's oldest time, so feel free to tune out at any point. But my relationship with the senior pastor, to me, had always been very fatherly, very mentor-mentee type thing. Looking back, I can see that there were years of grooming, progressively abusive behavior. And it wasn't just like, honestly, at the beginning, it wasn't like a sexual thing. It was more about like power and control and like emotional, like, like, let me make sure I kind of have you in a place where you're, seeking reassurance from me a lot and all that kind of thing. But it did move into like a physical sexual situation, and it was like small things. It's always small. It's always stuff that you're like, I'm imagining this, right? Like I remember one time him walking behind me, and like we were walking through the sanctuary, we just had a meeting or something, he was right behind me, and then all of a sudden I felt like this like twisting through my hair, like he was playing with my hair. but like it happened for a second and then it was done, you know, and you're just kind of thinking like, did I imagine that? Was it a fly in my hair? You know what I mean? But like I knew it was, I had to just be like,
Yeah.
Anyway, there's like, like I said, this was a years long situation. 2.5 years probably is what I can count, of like just progressively moving me through the stages of grooming and abuse. It basically, it culminated in an encounter where the proposition was clearly sexual. Like it was
Was it a quid pro quo kind of in nature?
so
Type
not
deal?
what's interesting about it is like not, I don't think completely outright. So like there was definitely some in the process of this whole thing.
Yeah.
There was definitely a little bit of like that would every once in a while be brought up, and certainly the proximity that I had to him in the position and the fact that I was a volunteer,
The
I was a
power dynamics
woman,
here
he's in
just
charge of me, yada yada, like fed into this dynamic on the other side. There wasn't a whole, there was never like if you want this, you'll do this. What there was for me though was, you know, I was friends with his wife. Said earlier, the church was my entire social like world, my entire social support. And so the consequences of not being on good terms with this man, and certainly the consequences of outing what was happening, were high, not just for me, but for like literally everyone.
Yeah.
You know, my husband, his wife, all of the other people in this church. And it wasn't a huge church, it was like 100 people, but like still, it's like, you know, this was my world and I love these people. Not to mention the students, you know, like it's like, you know, like they see it anyway. But there was an encounter where it was like there was a clear proposition. I said no. It was not received well. Fortunately, it was not received violently either. I'd like just to be clear, that's not what happened, but it was not received well. And I realized that I was kind of at that, I was at that point where it was either going to be like I fall off a cliff or I put a stop to it now. You know, like I'm kind of at that critical point. And if we go back to like a personality, I was very much like, I cannot allow this to happen. However, I also very, as part of the whole like grooming thing, and also just the way like I really do try to believe the best in people, really to a fault. I've gotten better about that since this whole experience, but I still have that tendency. And I really thought that if I outed it and brought it into the light, that there was like a way to do it where we could all just figure it out and it would be okay. I remember begging him several times over the course of like a year and a half of these, like, he would do something, he would say, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I would be like, if we just tell your wife and my husband and get this all straightened out, like, it will be fine. Like, we can fix this. And of course he was like, no, like, I won't do it again. And of course he would do it again a couple months later, you know, like, or something like that. But this final encounter, I was like, I have to do something. I have to get this out. So I told my husband, and that went about as well as you'd expect. It all blew up so badly. And
I can imagine if I'm your husband, I am super pissed that he is coming on to you.
Yeah, he's super pissed, but also I'm still framing this as I'm having an emotional affair with my pastor. So I was very much coming to him.
And that's how you like truly believed at the time.
And also
too.
like when we're talking about like purity culture and how men and women relate to each other in the church, that's what it's called. Like that's what you would say.
I have caused him to sin.
Correct. And I would say all the time, am I doing something? Like, am I like putting out some sort of, no, it's not you. It's not you. But of course, once I said something to my husband and then once it started coming out and whatever, it was suddenly like, she's really damaged from previous childhood experiences. I was trying to help her, because that was the other thing, is that I do have some traumatic childhood experiences. I had sought counseling from him for these things.
And then he weaponized it against you.
Yes. So it was like, so she's crazy and sick and ill and all this kind of thing. And she's lying. This is what she came onto me. And like, there in this whole, like, it was like 1 week in particular, the week between me telling my husband and like being basically excommunicated, there was this whole, he actually called me and gave me this story of what I was going to say. And I actually tried to tell the story to I tried to be like, actually, just kidding. It was this and this. And God bless my husband. He was like, I don't believe you. He's like, I don't believe any of that. And so that did.
Yeah.
And so after, like, because what I had initially told him was like just enough to like raise the alarm bells, but not the full story. It wasn't the full thing. And so then I tried to give him the story that this man was feeding to me. And then he was like, that sounds like nonsense. So then I went back to my husband and was like, let me try to tell you everything. And I ended up writing everything down. I made a timeline. Like I literally went back to my type A training, made like a dated timeline, everything I could remember from the last couple of years. I let him read it. We brought it to the elders of the church. And basically, long story short, I was told to leave post haste. My students were told without me that I had had an emotional affair with the senior pastor. That was basically what was explained to them. Without me there, I wasn't allowed to talk to them. I wasn't allowed to contact them. And then he was able to go up on stage. I
feel like pissed off.
Frustrated,
I can feel like
I've done a lot of work to be able to tell this story without like crying and stuff.
It just knows my jaw clenching, like my chest is getting to like I'm sorry, please go ahead. Okay. But I'm just
and then he was actually allowed to go up on stage. And explain that he'd had something like, I wasn't there, and they had turned off the recording. We usually record services and whatever, they'd turned all that off, so there's no evidence. It's just whatever people told me. But what I understood is that he got up on stage and was like, I shared this moment with a congregant, and it was, we both lied about it, and I'm going to take some time to reflect. And so he was like on leave,
right,
to go to therapy or whatever.
Probably paid leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Or it was, who knows? I forget exactly what they said, but he was put on leave and was going to go to therapy and fix it and whatever. And the way that part of the story kind of ended was they were kind of trying to let him come back. So after a couple of weeks, there was really only one or two people left at the church who would talk to me.
Yeah.
But they were like, Kate, he's been coming to services, but staying in like what we call the family room. A lot of churches have this where it's like, you go with your crying child or whatever. So he would come in after the service had started, be in there to like watch the service, and then would leave before it was over so that people wouldn't see him or whatever, but he was there. And it was clear that there was like sort of this like very much like how people do it is like testing the waters and like, can we just bring this back in? And I heard that this had gone on for about 3 weeks or so. And again, this is like a month or so after everything had come out and I'd been told to like leave and never come back and like all this kind of thing. And by the way, they told me to leave and never come back without talking to me. The elder board, who's supposed to be in charge of all this, they had talked to him, but they never asked to sit down and listen to me. But I'd shared my timeline with one of the other people at that church, and he went to the board and was like, you have made a mistake. There's something wrong here, and you need to talk to her. So I shared it with them. They were very sad, very heartbroken, didn't know what to do or whatever. So that's where that was. And then this whole like he was coming to the services in secret sort of thing started happening a couple weeks later. So when I heard about that, there was just 1 week where I was like, you know what? F this. And I texted, again, the one person who was talking to me was like, is he there? Like it was a Sunday. And I was like, is he there? And she was like, yes. So I got in my car and I drove there. And I walked in, or I'm sorry, no, he wasn't there. I texted her and was like, are you there? And was he there last week? Yes. So I got my car, drove there, walked in, sat in the exact same room. He never showed up. I am sure someone told, because they saw him, like,
Right.
the head usher saw me. He actually tried to get me to leave. And he was like, I think you need to go. And I was like, well, has he been here for the last couple weeks? And he tried to argue with me. And I was like, no, I asked you a very simple question. Has he been here the last 3 weeks? Yes. I was like, great. Then I'm going to go sit exactly where he's been sitting. He never appeared. I'm sure he was told, like, she's here, stay away or whatever. And I sat there and then I left. And after that, not after he'd been going for weeks, but after I showed up to do the exact same thing, that's when I got a letter in the mail saying I needed to stay away from the campus unless I wanted to agree to a restoration plan to the church, to which I was like, I have zero interest in a restoration plan with people who think that they can operate like this. So that, anyway, that's like the quickest version of the story.
Which, by the way, you can tell, like, from what you're saying, that you were not his only victim.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. I unfortunately don't know, but it seems practiced, and most people that I tell the story to are like, yeah, that seems like a repeated pattern. Like, they're like, that's not a first time thing. That's like someone who's been
the very innocuous, like, wait, did he actually touch my hair?
Yeah.
And the escalation, I'm so sorry, that'll never happen again.
Right.
Like, everything you were saying is just...
Well, it's also like every time I thought I was very unique in this story, and then I started listening to, like, on podcasts and, like, learning more stories of spiritual and, pastoral abuse, and I was like, it's literally the same. So I need to know where the book is that they wrote, because there's clearly a book somewhere that they all read. Right. I'm like, it's like the abuser's guide or whatever. And it's not just pastoral, but like every abuser just seems to have the exact same mechanism. Anyway,
it's about the exploitation of power, and control.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, it's like it's a power thing. But anyway, so that's like the gross story. But that was, I remember at one point, to bring it kind of back around to like the actual deconstruction thing, because that was the catalyst.
Right.
But like, I remember at one point during that, like, I call it the week of hell, when everything was coming out and it was a mess and whatever. I prayed and I said, like, get me out of this. Get me out of this. And I didn't even know what this was.
Yeah.
I just, like, whatever this is, like, just get me out. And I remember one of my first sessions with my psychologist, he used the term PTSD, and I was like, I don't have that. And he was like, okay. Turns out, off the charts, PTSD by like literally every measure.
You put a lowercase c in there, that's this guy.
Oh yeah, no, well, same. Like, you know what I mean? Because like it was like between like childhood and then the length of time for this, it was like there's also like a little C right there, but we're just gonna leave that alone. Anyway, so but in one of my therapy assignments, I actually wrote, like, I prayed that God would get me out of that somehow. And even though I never would have chosen the way that I was, you know what I mean? Like exit, this ended up being on the other side of it, of course, not in the middle of it. I don't wish this on anybody. And I wish nobody ever had to go through such a thing ever again. But I will say that it ended up being like this, I call it sometimes a gift. I sometimes call it a weapon, like my weapon, like something like that, where it's like, I have this thing now and I had to pay for it with a lot of pain. And it is so useful to me all of the time. It was useful in how I deconstructed and am now reconstructing my spiritual beliefs. Mm-hmm. It was so useful in being able to identify Trump for exactly what he was.
Yeah.
This was all happening in the middle of Trump 1. And
I bet that was just so triggering.
It was the middle of Trump 1. It was Me Too. It was literally all at the exact same time. And It was when the SBC was going through their abuse allegations, like literally the exact same time as when this whole traumatic experience was occurring for me. But like when Trump got reelected, this thing right here that I now have as a result of all of that and the years of healing that had to happen, which was a long process that we don't have time to get into. But like I have this thing now. And,
I wish we did. You're going to have to come back.
Okay, cool. The exit gift that I have from this, when Trump got reelected in 2024, I was like, I am ready. I know exactly what to do here. I know exactly who you are and what you are and what this game is. And I know, I know who I will be and how I will position myself. And I don't care how much it costs. And I don't care if it hurts me. Like, you can't hurt me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, he can. Technically, he's the president. And just, you know what I mean? Like, I can absolutely be hurt. I can absolutely lose things. But like, the whole, like, I've already been through that. The hellishness we talked about earlier, like, I'm like, I already did that.
Yeah.
So I know what it is. I survived it once. I can absolutely survive it again. And this time I will not bend. I will not compromise. I will not try to work with you. I will not try to do whatever. I will actually just be like, this is correct. And I will stand here and be on the side of the people who need me the most. And you can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. You being the Trump and everything around him. But
it saddens me on one level that like so many women were able to pick Trump from the very beginning and spot him out and be like, no.
Not a thing.
It sucks. You know, like it just, that is something that's very heavy. And the like more that I have these conversations and the more women that I talk to, how common. I don't.
No,
I'm not trying to trivialize in the least, but
don't feel that at all. It's way too common.
It's so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But I do want to touch on kind of that hopeful part that you put in, and it's something that has taken me a very long time, but like I've like finally have started to be able to get there too. But saying like, you know what, there was such a shitty part, but what I learned in that, like the skills that I have gotten,
right,
have made me fucking bulletproof.
Yeah.
Now I had so much resentment, certainly, and then disdain for religion and for my experience for a very long time. Like I felt like I was lied to by like every community member, by every family member, by every like church leader. You know, I was like, they're a whole bunch of liars. I'll never step foot in there again because of like all the hurt. But and this is like something that like because of the CPTSD, I don't really remember like a whole lot of my childhood. I do remember being in church and like the pastor talking about like, you know, like like, are you going to heaven or hell? And being like so scared that I'd like basically dissociate.
Right. Yeah.
And I would watch how the pastor was talking. So I wouldn't pay attention to what he said, but how he said it. Because like I realized that he was controlling our emotion, how he was speaking. And that fascinated me. You know, I was like, how is he doing that?
Yeah.
So I would go home, stand in front of a mirror, and I would like just in hindsight practice like public speaking just for hours. Like how I like my facial expression, my tone, and I like doing all of this stuff.
Real Southern Baptist.
Oh yeah. But now whenever I like go up to give a speech, it is literally muscle memory.
Right.
Which is good because I get nervous every time.
It's terrifying.
But it is second nature. And like, whenever you hear me give a speech, you're going to be like, oh, that's Pastor Adam. You know, like I sound like a pastor combined with Ronald Reagan and Barack Obama. Like those are like those are like my three, like
Reagan was a good orator. We do have to give that to him. It's allowed.
And
we can hate everything else.
His quips. Like, I had just watched, the clip where the guy from the Baltimore Sun asked him in the second presidential debate, like, you're already the oldest candidate, and people said that you were really tired during the last talk. Are you worried about age? And he said, "No, Mr. Truitt, not at all. And also, I want you to know that I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I will not exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience."
Oh my god!
Talking about Walter Mondale,
right?
Like,
yeah, which is just like,
it was terrible.
But yeah, like, you gotta hand it to him. He knew exactly how he knew how to cross swords verbally. The hopeful. Sorry,
no. He was the first Teflon man, though. Come to think of it, like, where he could not nearly as well as Donald Trump, but like, he could say things and then completely get away with it. That
say
like,
all
I
kinds
don't
of
like
craziness.
understand how it happened.
On the hopeful note, I do think that for women in particular, and especially women of color, Black women, specifically, I'm seeing a lot of hopefulness in this moment of, like, it's such a reckoning. It's so blatant. I talked earlier about how the lack of engagement with, like, kind of the everyday normal person who doesn't make politics their thing. We're unfortunately going through a very traumatic, abusive experience, similar to what I just described, that happened to me personally, but, like, as a nation.
Yeah.
Like, which, again, I think was part of why I was like, I know exactly what to do here in 2024, is because I was like, you are him. You're the same person. And same tactic, same everything. And in my psychotherapy, I hit upon using Marvel references a lot, specifically Iron Man. And my tattoo is actually an homage to Iron Man. Those who know will know. You'll see the arc reactor here. And because at the beginning, when I was very much like, I don't know what to do, I'm totally freaked out. Like, how do I fix this? Because the whole process of healing from trauma is itself very traumatic. Yeah. It's like because you have to do it all over again. Yeah. It's the only. It's like a lot of grief. You broke a bone, it didn't heal right. In order to fix it, you actually have to re-break it and do it all over again. It sucks. And so my therapist and I ended up using the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe Tony Stark thing. Tony's in the cave. He has to cobble together to survive Mark 1, right? The arc reactor, Mark 1, and just get out of there, right? And that's like the initial traumatic event. You did what you could to survive. It wasn't perfect. It didn't look good. It wasn't fancy, but it was what it was, or you were dead. Right.
Yeah.
Now you have this thing inside of you and whatever. And then in the second movie, we see that the arc reactor's poisoning him. We see that the shrapnel is still in there, but if he doesn't let it poison him, the shrapnel will kill him. Right. So we have this, like, paradox. And then so he has to create a new element in order to deal with the toxic, to lower the toxicity. And then by the third movie, we have okay, you've done that, but it's now like the trauma has still, like, subsumed your personality. And in order for you to move on and be a person, we need to get the shrapnel out of you, right? You need to let go of the whole, like, this is how I survive thing. It needs to be, I'm Iron Man because it is like, it is me as a whole person, not me as a survival, not me as a trauma response. And so then he gets the shrapnel removed out of him. And then by the end game, this is supposed to be a play on Tony Stark's funeral wreath. By the end game, Tony has become a whole person. He's got a kid. He's got a life. Iron Man is an option if he needs it. But otherwise, it's like he just wants to live and be a person. And that's when he invents time travel and saves the world and ultimately makes the sacrificial decision and snap to save said world. Like, it all falls on him. But that's, like, to me, is like, hopefully Marvel doesn't, like, copyright this or what, bang you for copyright. But, like, to me, that became, like, the ultimate.
It's such a compliment that you think Marvel watches.
Seriously, they're coming for you. The Russo brothers are like, no, you may not do that. They're gonna come for me for my tattoo. But yeah, like, out of my PTSD protocol is when I had this done, and it was like one of those, like, my sister helped me design it. The idea came to me in, like, this flash of, like, insight of, like, oh my gosh, I need to do this and that. There's, like, Hebrew on here of quoting Proverbs, above all else, guard your heart. The play on proof that Tony Stark has a heart. That, again, this is supposed to be like the funeral. Go watch the movies if you don't know what I'm talking about. But the whole, like, to me, it's like this hopeful arc of like, we went through the really crappy scene in the cave, right? Like you're gonna die unless you just come up with something to get out. And then we progressively learn how to be human again. And by the end, it's not Iron Man who's saving the world, it's Tony. Tony saved the world, right? Like it's just him being him. And to me is like, this was about like, I want to be Kate being Kate, not Kate the sheltered person going through trauma for the first time, not Kate as a trauma response to what happened, not Kate as just a PTSD poster child, right? Like, but Kate as in like a whole person. And that my spiritual projects, my political projects, my like work, like my family, like all of that is like this attempt to become like Kate, you know? And that's really like, I'm at the stage now where I'm actually starting to try to craft like a new like spiritual schema for myself that is like, this is what it means to be human type thing.
I love that there can be something that's so dark.
Yeah.
And so just insidious. I every word feels trite. But to be able to create something not just like super meaningful.
Yeah.
But just it radiates like almost like a joy, like a joyful energy.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. Like, you know, just like it to be able to like that whole messy thing to come together, and it creates a whole that is just like, well, changing the world.
Yeah. Hopefully that is the idea. I think that can be everyone's superpower. I hope that people are looking at like the mess, because there's still mess in my life. Don't be confused. But can look at the things that are really hard, that those are the things that are like shrapnel in our bodies, right? Or the poison in our blood or whatever it is. And can figure out how to metabolize that, turn it, alchemize it into like exactly what you're talking about, joy and peace and strength. Like we need strength right now in a big way, right? We're not going to be able to push through what's going on in our country, what's going on in the church, big C, church everywhere type thing. We're not going to be able to push back against any of that unless we are like super, super strong. And strength, the only way to get stronger is to go through this thing. Like that's it. Like
you have to be vulnerable,
right? You have to be vulnerable, and you have to be willing to be broken. Like strength trainers will explain to you, like the muscle getting stronger is literally ripping itself apart and putting itself back together. That's the only way. Otherwise, it doesn't build anything. So anyway, I could go on. I could have a million metaphors for you,
Kate. Like I literally could talk to you for hours.
Yeah, I know.
And
we
like,
have.
Yeah, I was about to say, and yeah, we are on the 2-hour mark.
Right,
I do want to be respectful of your time.
Oh no!
Can you pretty please come back on though? Like this was so much fun.
Absolutely,
I had a freaking
this
blast.
was really fun. Yeah, I've I walked in, full disclosure, really without a whole lot of expectations or outline, and so this ended up being like a really cool conversation. So thank you,
Kate. Thank you for acting out with me.
Of course.